And generally speaking, this game is beautiful. I have a very strong feeling that when I'll finish it, I'm probably gonna cry a lot of tears because I have heard that it's quite emotional, but I have also done some research and I have heard that a lot of people who have gone through grief, who have lost someone recently, this game has really helped them to process those emotions and to help them kind of get through that, because it's done in a very gentle way. It talks about death in a beautiful way, and I think as spiritual people, this is something that we tend to think about. Death, dying, potential life after death, our spirit, our soul, what the legacy we leave behind. This game is not just a video game, but it really is a whole exploration about death and our impact on life and what it means like to pass to the next stage. Beautiful game, I really recommend it, and it's called Spiritfarer. My favorite category, of course, tarot and oracle decks. And I wasn't really in a space where I wanted to be doing a lot of studying. I wasn't in a space where I really wanted to use anything new either, at least for tarot, because I was just feeling like I needed to hold on to my trustworthy companions. My nervous system was on fire a lot of the time. I was feeling very emotionally flammable, so I needed decks that I knew I could rely on. And the first one in that category is actually the Stunning Tarot. The Stunning Tarot by Jonas Ajaus, or Jonas Ajaus. I still don't really know how you pronounce this creator's name, I'm so sorry. This is a very special deck for me. You know, there's a lot of conversation right now around soul decks. What are soul decks? Do you need a soul deck? Are they a real thing? For me, if there were such a thing as soul decks, this would definitely be one of them. For me, soul decks are like Horcruxes. You know, in Harry Potter, Voldemort puts some parts of his soul in different items, and this is where parts of himself lives. I feel like soul decks are like Horcruxes, but for good, not for evil. So part of your soul can still live in that object because you're so connected to it. This is how I approach soul decks, not necessarily the fact that it's a be all and end all and it's going to be your favorite deck forever, but it's just a deck that holds a part of your soul that you had or have a very special connection to, and that you'll always have a little bit of you in that. And for me, the Stunning Tarot is very much that. This is a deck that I've had for quite some time now, either I think as soon as it came out, so a couple of years. It was love at first sight, honestly. It's one of those that I've never really been able to put down. I've talked about it on my channel numerous amount of time, and I just go back to it over and over again. The color scheme is very interesting and unique. As you can see, it is full of pinks, purples, reds, and yellow, and each of the suit is based on a different fantastical world. You have witches in the wand suit, you have mermaids for swords, 1000 Night for the cups, and finally for pentacles you have Egyptian kind of mythology. Those are all my favorite kind of fantasy world. I love mermaids, I love the Arabian Nights, I love Egyptian mythology, and I love witches. So the only thing that this is missing is like Greek mythology, which is like my ultimate favorite, but it's pretty perfect. The line work is stunning, feels very fantasy, but also this deck and we just communicate in a way that I can't quite explain, but it just gets me and I get it. It doesn't really follow RWS. I think it's actually more inspired by Marseille and numerology, and yet for me, I read with this very intuitively. But I love this devil with the gargoyle. This is very Notre Dame. And the mages are beautiful, the minors are beautiful. This deck takes me to another world, whilst at the same time giving me enough space to process my emotion. This deck really sees me and understands me, and I adore it. I really do. Every single reading I've done with this deck have been very profound, very healing, that I never really see many people talk about. For me, this is a hugely underrated indie tarot deck. Jonas Ajaus also did the Jonas Ajaus Tarot, which is more of a Pepish Marseille inspired deck that is very plant-based, very kind of herbal ally inspired. I have that deck, I really like it, but it's not the Stunning, you know what I mean? Like, the Stunning is where it's at, and it's for me one of those decks that if there was, you know, any kind of zombie apocalypse, it's coming with me. This is coming with me, you know, to the afterlife, so, you know, I can read tarot for all the ghosts out there. Okay, the second deck I really enjoyed this month is actually a continuation from the month of August, and it is the Lubenko Tarot by Emily Lubenko. I've talked about this in my previous favorites video, I've talked about it in my deck haul, so I don't want to go too much into it, but I'm still loving it as much as I did last month, and I couldn't put it down, so I did